My goodness, guys, we have a full house here tonight. As always, this is Patrick, PDubs Arcade Loft, where we always appreciate it when you come and hang out upstairs with us. And I have a fantastic show scheduled for you guys tonight. An awesome interview with the team of Barrels of Fun. And David didn't just come by himself, he brought the whole Barrels of Fun. He brought a barrel of people with him. Isn't that right, David?
Absolutely a barrel of fun right here. And obviously, we're still actually missing a couple other people, but we'll shout them out as we go through the show. But this wouldn't have happened without all these people here. So I'm very blessed to have them.
It's fantastic. So, guys, David is the CEO, the man in charge of Barrels of Fun Pinball, and I greatly appreciate him coming on the broadcast. And if David, if you want to introduce your team or have your team introduce themselves and let everyone know what they do there, and we're going to do our best to make sure everyone gets a chance to talk during tonight's interview.
I think it's more fun to let them explain who they are because it can change on a daily event of what they do. Everyone wears a lot of hats. So let's go ahead and start off with Mr. Savage down in the left corner. I'm looking at you, bud.
Hey, man. I am Brian Savage. I am the Chief Business Officer or Chief Barrels Organizer, depending on how you look at it. And I handle a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm David's partner in this whole wonderful venture, and I sure am glad that he brought me on.
Oh, fantastic. Trent?
I'm the animator. I do all of the mode animations, did the taking all the footage from the film and making it appropriate. Maybe we didn't have a character in the game that needed to be taken out in all the footage. So
Sarah Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, right. So I've been doing that and some of the light shows, working with Eric on all that stuff. It's been a magical thing to be involved in this. So.
Nice. Real quick, Trent, where can I get my hands on that T-shirt, buddy? Are you guys selling T-shirts now?
This is
we have them. We've been doing out to people that have the games, but we will be selling them. We're just getting all of our merch stuff lined up online, so you're going to see a lot of stuff from us in the next probably 8 weeks.
Oh, so you're going to have a lot of merchandise coming out in the next 8 weeks, like T-shirts, cups, anything like that, or anything else you want to share?
There's something else you'll really like, but we can't say yet.
Oh, can't say yet. Okay, very cool. What about you, Mr. Bowen?
Hi, I'm Bowen Cairns. I'm one of the Coopers at Barrels of Fun. I am responsible for some of the rules design. Phil Grimaldi is the lead rules designer. I'm also involved in the marketing of the games with tutorial videos and playthroughs, and just generally trying to make the game more fun through prototyping and testing. Worked very closely with Phil, with Eric, the lead programmer, about those details and trying to find little ways to make the game better over time. And you see that in the polish of how this game appeared even when it first came out. It was really months ahead of a typical new release from any pinball company.
Nice. And what about you, Eric?
That's me. I'm the programmer, so I'm the one who implemented all the game code for this. There's also David Fawcett, some people know as Fosma, doing other programming related stuff and IT things for the office. Like he did all of the operating system setup for the machine, but the game code is all me. So I take all the stuff that the things that Phil and Bowen dream up and all the art and audio that Trent makes up, and I stick them all together and wrap them in numbers, and then stuff happens.
Nice. Excellent. And let's go Phil and Blake.
Sure. I'm Phil Grimaldi. I'm a rules designer at Barrels of Fun. I wrote the rule structure for Labyrinth. So it's really my job to kind of translate the theme or the movie into the language of pinball and try and make a compelling game experience. I'm an avid player myself, of course, an avid gamer. So I love digging into different rule mechanics and rule structures and trying to build something that's compelling and makes you want to keep playing and keep pressing the start button over and over again.
Nice. Nice, Phil. Thanks so much. And Blake?
Hey there. I'm Blake Dumasnil. I am helping out with all the marketing and digital media design and art direction and stuff on Barrel's games and products and the brand. And I was really privileged for Dave and Brian to bring me on somewhat early on, I guess, and help develop the brand of the company and, really make this a fun experience for everybody. So I'm just thrilled to be here.
Fantastic. And as always, I appreciate everyone being here in the live chat. Do me a favor, click that thumbs up. We're going to get this thing fired off now that we've made all of our introductions. We got a lot of great questions to ask Barrels of Fun, and hopefully the team can give us some really great answers. We're gonna talk a little bit about the creation of this game, securing the licenses, the experience of designing, building this game. Would love to hear their feedback about actually revealing this game at the Chicago Pinball Expo, as well as the table design and why they only made one version of this game and why is that so unique in this space of these day and age. And hopefully we'll get some teases about the future coming soon from Barrels of Fun. No pressure, David. No pressure on you for that. But David, before let's just walk back to the beginning. What made you start this, man, David? What happened to say, I want to create my own pinball company?
You can blame Brian for that. In all seriousness, COVID changed the landscape for a lot of people, including me, myself, and my family. And it was a time of reflection and a lot of personal stuff going on. And I wanted to step back and just see what I want to do for my career moving forward and how I can be with my family and stuff like that. And while doing some of that, searching, I would have licenses still reach out to me because they I have friends still in that industry, and they would approach me for, we have this IP, would we like to see if you can do something with it? And because I was kind of stepped back from the industry, obviously I still had a lot of friends in the industry, I would point them into different directions. And I would tell Brian these stories, and Brian will be like, so why don't you do it yourself? And I was like, because it's expensive, it's stupid, and it's a lot of hard work. And, the market is changing rapidly. And over a period of time, to kind of keep Brian at bay, we decided to put a 10-year business plan together, and lo and behold, it actually looked like it would go in the right direction. And that's basically when it's like, well, what have I got to lose?
Because it was still stupid and expensive.
Yeah. That didn't change.
That didn't change at all.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, but you said you had experience in the pinball business before this, right?
Yeah. So this story's everywhere, so I'll just try and make it brief, which my team laughs at because I don't make short stories. But I got started working with John Popperduke, John Popperduke back at Magic Girl. And from that catastrophe, I moved on to Skip B. And then from that catastrophe, I moved on to Spooky Pinball, which I spent the rest of my past pinball career there, which is 8 years, starting at Rob Zombie all the way up to Halloween.
Oh, nice. Wow. That's that. So you worked on Halloween. So
in the beginning, I was just doing the dots for the game. So with America Most Haunted, after Ben was working on that, he did not want to program another pinball machine after doing America's Most Haunted. And he was just kind of burnt out crushing bugs. You can ask Eric about crushing bugs and how much that takes up. And he introduced me to Charlie and said, hey, you need this guy to do the dots for your games. He's been working for all these other companies that have not been successful, and he should have the opportunity to work on a production game. So I was brought on to do all the dots for Rob Zombie, and that went into Dominoes, Jetsons, TNA, all the way up. And as that went on, I got more involved in the rules with David Fosmer and the spooky team. And as we kept growing as a company and having great success, because of my film and television background, I ended up taking care of the licensing for them. So then I got into project management and acquiring licenses.
Nice. And speaking of licenses, you mentioned a few minutes ago that somebody approached you with the Labyrinth license. Can you share that story?
Yeah, so I mean, just in all licensings, it's like relationships. You meet people, you have conversations, you learn their families and so forth. And when they get to know that you make a good product and you're very dedicated to making great products, they will start reaching out to you. And for example, the Henson Company, there was one guy over there who hasn't been there for 9 years now, loved pinball. And he goes, I've always wanted a Henson pinball machine. And I said, well, lucky enough, I love Henson as well. And I think that would be a great opportunity. And we just kept in communication. And that's really how it happened. And big part of choosing licenses, which I think some of you want to know about, is what can you do with a licensor with the IP that they have? And it's no secret some licenses are very restrictive, and then there's other IPs that are very open. And that is one thing that's really important to Barrels of Fun, is we look for licensors that want a world created, and they will, be with us in the trenches, so to say, to create the best world possible. And I'm not saying any licensor doesn't want a great product, because that's what they do want. But there's so many restrictions regarding third-party licensing that they don't have control over. So it's my job to go out there, talk to licensors, find out what they have, and for our team to assess, can we make something worthy of the ultimate collectible for these fan bases?
Excellent. So you secure the license and you decide to make this happen, create a 10-year plan, you said, and and start pushing forward, bring on the team, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Now, Trent, when you find out, because you do the brand development, the marketing and stuff, when you find out from David that you're going to be doing this kind of stuff, how excited did you get, man? I mean, we're talking David Bowie here, an icon, a legend.
Well, I'll pivot your question. Blake is the one that has been doing a lot of the marketing and all that kind of stuff.
I want to know how excited you are, Trent.
I was very excited. No, I will say that when I started talking to Dave about this in 2019, and he brought up the fact that Labyrinth was a potential pinball license, I almost lost my mind. I was just kind of starting to kind of get my feet wet, talking to pinball companies about animation and stuff, and he started talking about Labyrinth, and it's been one of my favorite films for my whole life. And I have watched people ruin IPs over the years just by not in the pinball world necessarily, but taking something that I loved as a kid and just sucking all of the life out of it by trying to update it and all that kind of stuff. And the magic of Labyrinth it's been such a fun opportunity to work with all of this team, all these guys who also care about the property and want to make sure that it's true to the film. So I was thrilled and definitely committed early on to making sure that it still had the magic of the Labyrinth property when it actually hit the floor. So.
And something I would add to this, I mean, it wasn't just Brian pushing me to, well, why don't you do this? I've worked in the service industry for 25 years, and I got to a point by doing that I got to a point in my life where it's like, I want to make cool stuff with cool people. And one of those things was to get a group of people that I've worked with before that I know will if I give them the right tools, they will take it to the next step. And everyone on this team I've worked with in the past. And, I really assembled the dream team here. And,
Nice.
I think all of them have a different story how I approach them. Because one key thing as a pinball collector myself is we wanted this to be a surprise. So my choices were good because none of them leaked a single thing. I'll let them talk to that. But like all these people, I truly believe, surround yourself with amazing people and let them do their job. And the proof is in the pudding on this project.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how you mentioned that this was a secret and you guys tried to keep it a surprise. So for instance, although I follow what some of these pinball companies are doing and working on, all of a sudden out of nowhere, people start sending me like this Instagram post here. And I'm like, what is this? What is happening? This just came out of nowhere. And then sure enough, it felt like in no time, this machine was at Chicago and everyone got to see it in person. So how long was it from the initial social media push until people actually saw the thing in person? Because to me, it felt like it was like a month or two. It was like really quick.
Brian, why don't you speak to that, mate?
Okay, well, we have another gentleman that wasn't able to be here tonight, George Spelvin, and he's the one that really just started leaking all this stuff out for everybody. He's the one that came with the idea of the Mystery Pinball Company, and so we got some people hooked. But the first thing we sent out actually was a key fob that was in the goodie bag at TPF last year, and so that's what started it. And so we just tried to throw a little thing out here and then wait a couple months and throw something else. And of course, as we got closer to the actual launch, that's when we started really ramping up. And then Blake comes up with the brilliant idea of doing the puzzle piece, which was really funny. It was a crossword puzzle and then a word find. I'm just telling you, people found words in there we didn't even know were in there ever. I mean, it's like, well, how does that Steven Spielberg? Yeah, you're playing that, right, Blake? That was a total plant, in that stuff. That was his son. Oh, really? Okay. So,
well, yeah, it was George Lucas.
Yeah, George Lucas, not Steven Spielberg. Sorry.
And we had so the word search was just a random generator that I used online. We plugged in the words that we wanted to be in there. I did rearrange some letters to create some red herrings here and there, but kind of unbeknownst to us till we put it out there were some letters that were conveniently kind of located near each other that you could have interpreted to say Freddy Fazbear, which was people started thinking we were doing Five Nights at Freddy's because of that, even though, and the pizza references was like to the pizza party we're going to do in Chicago and stuff like that. But it was hilarious. We got some good laughs out of it on our end, and we hope that people had a lot of fun with it at the same time,
So there's a few folks in our live chat. They've been asking about the name of the company because this was this Mystery Pinball Company, and everyone thought that there was a company coming out called Mystery Pinball because this Mystery Pinball Company kept releasing teasers, right? Why Barrels of Fun Pinball? Because I'll be honest, I saw a lot of feedback on Pinside and other forums. People were like, Mystery Pinball sounds like a cool name for a company. And they were like, Barrels of Fun, not as cool. What's the story behind the names?
Well, you can ask Eric about that. He hates the name Barrels of Fun. But at the end of the day, we were trying to come up with names and so forth like that. And Barrels of Fun, it can be a negative and it can be a positive. And the point of frustration between me and Brian and my wife, we were like, well, I'm having a barrel of fun. And then just like, we're kind of like, but you know what? Let's just use that for now and move forward. And really, the name represents, a group of people, a barrel of fun. We're having fun. And at the end of the day, we're not just doing a pinball. You don't see the pinball at the end of this name. We want to do other things outside of pinball in the collectible space. And at the end of the day, when Walt Disney released a film, the word Disney didn't mean what Disney means today. It's the product that follows what gives the company name the real meaning. And, we threw it out there, it stuck, and Brian will talk about stickiness of a name.
Yeah, if the important thing in any kind of marketing, everyone knows as a marketeer, is you have to have something that sticks. And if this name is sticky at all, it's super glue, baby, because everybody keeps repeating it. Whether you like it or you don't, just keep saying it because everybody knows who we are.
Very good. Very good. So you
I
guys,
think also the name Mystery Pinball Company came from forum posters and the people who were trying to discuss the puzzles and things
trying to figure it out.
We were sending out with no name attached, and they didn't have a company name to attach it to either. So people just kind of said, "Well, I don't know who this is. It's some mystery pinball company," and all of a sudden there was a name.
Well, the email that was coming from was mysterypinballcompany@gmail.com.
Oh, well, then never mind. That's it. That's the better story.
Speaking of mysteries, there's a company out there teasing an upcoming Princess Bride, and they're kind of doing the same thing. They're doing this mystery thing. I'm gonna throw it out there. Is that you, David?
You will never see us replicate what we did for Labyrinth. Every time we're going to release a product, it will be when it's ready. We don't do the same things twice. We will always do something different.
All right, so let me scratch that off my list.
But they're really flattering us by doing, what we did.
Yeah, we did something right.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. All right, so you guys, you get the license, you decide to start this company. You bring on the dream team, David, of some of the best guys you've worked with in the past, and then now you gotta design this game. Now you got to come up with something. Now you have to come up with, and David, when I talked to you last week or so, you said something to me that has constantly stuck with me. You said, we've created a world under glass. That's what you said to me when you and I were talking about some stuff. And that has really stuck with me because it really feels like you've created a world under glass that represents this movie. So how did that, can someone walk us through the design, who came up with all the ramps, the magnets, everything that we see here?
So I am the one responsible for that, and that's due to a lot of influences from my experience at Spooky and John Poppaduke, and just following the hobbyists out there and the homebrew people. The approach on this game, what was important was not just a linear telling of the story, but what are the key moments that people remember, not by as if they've watched the film 2 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago or a week ago, but what are the core essence of what people remember when you say the name. So that was essentially just coming up with what resonates with the fans of this IP first, and developing mechs and ideas around that, and then laying in what will make this a fun pinball machine. And everyone on the team, so I had a foam core whitewood version of this for a long time in my dining room that I was tweaking on and stuff like that. And then as I would bring on more team members when I had the opportunity to bring them on, I would reveal what I'm doing. I think Phil probably has the best story of when I went and spoke to him. So I'll let him jump in and tell his experience of how he came aboard.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that David was just saying that resonated a lot, and when I was first coming on board was, we sat down at lunch and he revealed the first title that we'd be making, and he said, "Labyrinth. Have you seen it before?" And I was, "Oh yes, of course I've seen it. I love Labyrinth. It's been a while though. I haven't seen it in probably like 10 years. I'm gonna go home and watch it right away." And he said, No, don't watch it right now. I want you to go home and write down everything you remember from the movie first. And I took him up on that, and it was perfect. It was a perfect advice, because what I put together was not a verbatim retelling of the story, but it was my memory of it. And there are actually little artifacts of memory errors that I introduced in the game, because it's not a perfect retelling of it. It's my memory of it. And it's kind of funny because nobody's picked up on some of these little things yet. I'm putting it out there as like a little Easter egg. Who's going to find these memory errors? Most people haven't noticed it because it fits perfectly within the experience of the game. But beyond that, I mean, for a long time, this existed as an idea, like David said, a foam core thing, and I thought he was kind of, a little bit bonkers actually going with this. He's got a play field together, like duct tape together with foam core, and okay, David, yeah, this is a great start to this company. I'll help you out, whatever you need, man. And he kept with it and kept bringing people on, bring the right people on, smart people. And at some point in time, I remember going into the office and seeing the game, and everything went from idea space and all these different concepts and foam core and whitewoods. And then at some point it was real. And what ended up coming out of this was something way bigger than I think the sum of its parts would have suggested. And I couldn't be prouder of everybody on the team and David's vision, especially. It was really, really cool to experience firsthand from ideation to actual execution.
And we all still think David is.
That's why we're having fun.
So real quick, we got a couple interesting items from our live chat. Big shout out to you guys for tuning in. Greatly appreciate your support. Jason says that the art director, Johnny Fraser Allen, worked on both Labyrinth and Dark Crystal board games. Is that accurate, gentlemen?
Yes, he did the artwork. He's done a lot of work with Henson. He did the artwork for the board games. He's done a lot of concept stuff for them that is unreleased yet. But yeah, Johnny's a good friend of mine who I found him through Adam Savage. And that's the connect to the tested video is I found Johnny because of his love for Labyrinth with Adam. And that was the direct connect, which came full circle when we did the deep dive video with Adam over in San Francisco.
Nice. And we got another question here from Scott in the live chat. Wants to know if you guys are going to be at the Texas pinball event next month.
No, absolutely we will be.
Are you bringing anything new with you?
We will be bringing 5 new games, all of them beautiful customer Labyrinth games.
And maybe new T-shirts.
And new T-shirts and some things like that. We will have something going on that we're planning. In fact, we were just talking about that on Tuesday. And it will be an event for anyone that has a Labyrinth or has pre-ordered a Labyrinth. They will have an opportunity to do something pretty cool.
Oh, interesting. So this will be for anyone who owns the machine or has pre-ordered.
A pre-order. Yep.
You're going to do a special event for those people?
Let's just say Elo's going to throw a tea party.
Oh, okay. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Come on in and meet the missus. So
you're right.
So whatchamacallit, and you go to the Chicago Pinball, you have Texas. Are you guys going to do Allentown? That's another big one. And are you guys going to do the Allentown one this year, or is that the only convention you're planning on doing?
Well, right now, one of the reasons why we have distributors is we would like the distributors to go to the shows.
Right.
We would much rather just fly in, talk to people, and play some pinball and leave, rather than do all the setup. Nice. So right now we're thinking for a lot of we're trying to work out a calendar right now with some distributors to figure out who's covering what to make sure they have enough games there for people to play, because we enjoy watching the lines, but I think the customers would prefer to have, enough games so they don't have to wait in line 20 and 30 minutes every time, we're at a show, to play the game. And so that's what we're looking at right now is to partnership with our distributors.
Good. Excellent.
Somebody in the chat said earlier that they waited an hour maybe in Chicago to play.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, but I hope we kept it exciting for them in the line.
We are really grateful. Really grateful.
You guys apparently, and I unfortunately I wasn't able to go to the event, but from what I saw online, many people said you guys stole the show. The lines, the excitement, the smiles on people's faces when they got to get their hands on your machine and give it a few test runs What was that experience like at Chicago Pinball? Do you feel you stole the show? It's okay to beat your chest a little bit, man, if you did.
Brian and me drove a truck up there, which wasn't technically working that well, but we got there. Everyone went up there. We got everything set up, and again, this is going to go back to Phil. We were halfway through Friday, and he comes up because he just comes up, and I'll keep it PG, and he's like, you did it, like you're literally here. And it wasn't that moment, like it's like you take that moment, you stand around and you go, wow, like we are here. And we brought white chains. I didn't think we would have to use them, and we ended up having to use that to control the lines of people. But the biggest thing I probably took away from Chicago was the families playing the game. And it wasn't the husbands dragging the wives and the kids to play it, but it was the wives and the kids lining up to play it. That was probably the true highlight for me at Chicago. I mean, yeah, that was just an amazing experience. And I mean, I'll let the others chime in. Eric didn't turn up because he had to go somewhere, but the rest of the team did.
I got some. Go ahead.
I think it's just remarkable that the company can show up from out of nowhere. Like, it was that unexpected. The entire company was that unexpected too. So you're not just keeping a secret of a new game is about to come out. You're keeping a secret of this entire company and production line and factory and all of these people. They don't exist, or they exist, but they're not doing this thing. And all of a sudden, it all just drops at one moment, and that was extremely well coordinated by this whole company. But even that moment, you still could suck. The game could break down. Those games held up fantastically. So it's people like Lee and the others on the floor who are building and manufacturing the machines, and we've been sending machines out the door every week since that week. For new deliveries, and they are holding
they actually had 8 additional games ready to ship when we got back that Tuesday from Chicago. So we turned up to Chicago with 11 games. When we got back, we had 8 to ship, and we just kept building on that ever since.
Nice. I'm going to roll some footage here of a fantastic pinball content creator on YouTube. This is a gentleman by the name of Kerry Hardy, who I think you guys had a chance to meet at the show. He's very popular in the pinball space. Took some great footage here that we're rolling in the background. What was it like when what was the feedback you got from a lot of pro pinball players when they actually shot the game? Did they tell you it needed improvement? Did they tell you it shot great? I mean, I know the little kids are going to love this game. They're going to love the theme, the music, the characters. How did like the players take it? Did they give you great feedback on the performance?
Anyone else?
I think the biggest piece of feedback we heard is that there were a large number of unique shot designs, and particularly shots that fed differently at different times. There are like 5 shots in the game that all feed multiple different paths, depending on what the situation is in the game. And so a ball's going to be coming from here to there to there, and you're not really sure where it is or why. And that's on purpose because you're in a labyrinth. So all of those ideas of having ball paths and different ways, they were in the process from the very beginning of this. And to see that come through in people playing it for the very first time, that's really great.
Excellent. So a question that I've been meaning to ask you guys is, why did you decide to push forward with only making one machine? There's only one version of this game available, whereas some other pinball companies out there, they have different versions at different price points. You guys just have one version of this machine, one price tag. What drove that decision? And also the decision to only make, this is only 1,000 units, correct? It's 1,000 unit run?
It's 1,100.
1,100, that's right.
So
the keyword up to, so you take it, right?
Yeah, I'll take a little bit of that.
Sure.
we looked at doing different trim levels, and at one point we're going like, well, why? Because we know from some other company sales that the lower level machine for the collector is basically a come on to sell the higher level trim machine, because they really don't sell that many of the lower level trim. Now, Stern's a little bit different because they have a lot of location and operators that are looking for a low price machine. And so that's a little different. But when you're really targeting the collector market, why wouldn't you want every collector to have the same type of machine, the best one that you could do? And why make it a decision between this thing or that thing? And then the other problem you have is, what do you take out of the game? What do you take out that has a true impact on the bill of materials, but still have the same experience with the game? So we just decided that one is all we need. Let's just make the best one we can that we believe is at a CE level equivalent, for a lower price. So that's the direction we went.
And at the end of the day, as we are collectors, from when we would go hunting for pinball machines on Craigslist, it was always the thrill of the hunt. And you always were looking for that rare gem, even if it was anything from a Medieval Madness or down to a good friend of mine here in Houston who I introduced to pinball, finding him a Dead East Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we literally found it on Craigslist, called up, we're on our way, we're racing against other pinball collectors to go and get this, I think $900 at the time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It was the thrill of the hunt, the collector. And when we looked at the landscape, like Brian said, it's just, we want something special. And you just need one to rule them all. And let's make the decision very easily. If you're a big fan of Labyrinth, if you're a fan of pinball, this is the perfect merging of that product. Don't struggle. You can choose to buy a topper or some of the accessories to help bling it out a little bit more. But for an overall experience, this has to be the pinnacle of the collection of the merging of the IP and the pinball machine.
Love this question from Kongs R Us. So the Henson family was very excited, or the Henson company, I should say, very excited about someone making a pinball game out of that license. How many times did they get a chance to look at this thing before release? Did they add any feedback, wants, desires, any good stories there?
So there's some stories I can't say online, but they were absolutely thrilled with everything that we were doing. I think there was a little bit of like, are they really going to pull this off in what they're doing? But they really just let us tell the story, and to keep they didn't really have to keep us in any type of container because we knew that world relatively well. But Lisa and Brian did not actually see the physical game until 2 weeks ago. And, Eric is the one that was kind of funny as we were setting up at the Henson studio. There was Lisa. I knew it was Lisa. She was standing outside the window looking at us setting up the pinball machine. And Eric just he sees this lady outside, and he sticks out his head out the window and he goes, "Hey, do you want to come inside and check it out?" And she's like, "Oh, no. I've got to go to a meeting right now, but I was just looking." And I was just like, "You do realize that was Lisa, right?" And he goes, "Oh, was it? Okay." So, but they're thrilled with it.
You guys have probably one of the most amazing toppers I've ever seen come out for a pinball machine. I did buy my own Labyrinth, guys, out there. No conspiracy theories out there. And I loved it so much, I had to reach out to David personally and invite him and his team to come on the show. I haven't ordered the topper yet. I really want to get one, and I'm sure I'm going to get one. And I got to hear the story about the topper, as well as, will there be any other accessories coming out for this machine? Are you thinking first party? The modding community is going to come up with something. They always do. But will there be any other first party accessories? Like someone in the live chat mentioned body armor and things like that. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, as of right now, what you see is what you get. And we're obviously working towards other products and other games right now. If there's something that comes up that we want to add to it, we can do that. But, what we have is what we've got right now. And Brian, you want to talk about the fun that we had with the topper?
Well, the toppers actually have been in production or in concept or design or whatever for, I don't know how long, 3 years, something like
Wow.
that. They started off, David, my background is in toys with G.I. Joe and Transformer collector clubs. And so I've made a lot of things, a lot of action figures, a lot of toys. Let's just put it that way. So David said, hey, can we come up with something? And he had this idea of the goblins. And then we started with them and go, well, okay, well, we got them, but just having them sit on top of the machine, that's not very much fun. Well, well, let's make them talk. Okay. But, you know, the mouths aren't articulate. So I just like to say they're telepathic. You know, you're hearing their thoughts come in. And so we said, well, let's make 2 of them move. So we figured out with the help of one of our engineers how to make these things move. And right now, Eric is working on the magic to add a whole bunch of speech in the next code drop. So you haven't seen anything from the topper. We call it topper talk. What'll be happening next? They're going to be taunting you and making a lot of comments about your gameplay and other things like that. But one of the interesting things about making them, and I wish I don't have the piece with me in my office, was the hair. The hair was a struggle. So you can see that, you know, we call the guy on the far with the long nose is Snarf, and the other guy's name is Froggy. The guy in the middle is Baba. But the hair was difficult because when you're trying to get hair made, they're used to making hair for fashion dolls in China. So, and you can see here you go, right? I've got a couple in my hand there, a couple of samples that they would send us. And I would keep going, no, can you make it look scraggly? Make it look worse. Make it look bad. And we keep getting back these things that were just too pretty. And at one point, they sent us one Snarf that had curly, because we were testing different types of hair, curly red hair. We call him Carrot Top Snarf. But it was a pretty funny thing that came back. So that was truly a struggle because I've never worked in rooted hair before. And so that was, I learned a lot, you know, doing that piece.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And I love the fact that if you do pick one of these up, how it interacts with the player. And is the topper ever nice to you, or does it just heckle you and then heckle you some more? Like, is that all? What does it?
So, I mean, at this stage, I want to let Eric talk about the programming side of that. But to answer, yes, they are definitely, they are going to be nice. They're going to have fun. They're going to be goblins from the Labyrinth. Let's put it that way. But, you know, Eric is the one that's been living in that world, programming all that. And, you know, I'll let Eric take it from here.
Yeah, there's... I don't know how many of them are necessarily positive. There are definitely some positive comments if you do certain things well, like a really good multi-ball or a really good particular ball. But a lot of it is just them joking around about what's happening. They're not necessarily being negative or positive. They're just having a good time up there.
Yeah, I just think it's great because they're the goblins from the very beginning of the movie when you know, Sarah's in the closet and, you know, they're like waiting for her to say the magic words to get the adventure going.
Yeah,
and of course,
I will say it's worth it when, at least for anybody that's got the topper once this new update is out, it's worth it to just leave the ball sit in the shooter lane for quite a while because we have a number of things that they'll say if you're not actually playing.
So when can players expect for this new code and update to come out then?
Hopefully next week.
Next week. So new code next week. Will there be any other big changes you guys are willing to share right now?
Yeah, there's quite a number of things that are new in the next update. I don't know how much of them we really want to talk about, but there's the Wise Man quests got some changes and some reworks, and there's the how hard it is to get his goals have moved forward instead of being as hard as they were. They're easier now because people don't seem to be getting through as many of those as we expected. So that adjusted. Yeah. We changed around how the beginning of Goblin City works, even though a lot of people haven't necessarily gotten to that yet. We rethought how some of those rules work, and a bunch of general fixes and other small changes.
We got a couple great questions in the live chat, guys. Keep your questions coming. Goofyfoot's got a quick one here. How long from start to finish, from first conversation till the product was was done, David? Do you think?
Well, so that's a tough question, because if it goes back to when I was talking to the licenses, it was a long, long time ago. But this was a moment where I kind of had a moment of like, wow, we really step it up. From the whitewood that everyone saw me playing with and thought it was very cute what I was doing. From that stage to being at Expo was literally just 12 months.
Okay.
That was from, what are we doing? Like, you still using foam core and blue painter's tape, to this is the game with customized mechs. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 complete custom mechs. Actually, that's not true. It's 6, 7, 8. No, there's more. There's a lot of custom mechs in this that had to be engineered in SolidWorks. But really, from the creative blue sky, having a lot of fun, that took probably 2 years to really play with. But really taking it from soup to nuts, it was 12 months, which it was one of those things. I was having a birthday party for one of the employees in the conference room. And I just took that moment and I was just like, this time last year, there was 3 people in this room. And now we have over 16, making this happen. And it's just a testament of the fantastic people that Barrels has, working for them to make this happen. And I'm so grateful to have these people in my life. It's just letting them do their thing has been amazing.
Yeah, it was 9 months from the point where we moved into the current factory. We have 20,000 square feet in Houston, to when the game showed up at Expo.
Nice.
And there are a lot of us here on the stream tonight, but man, there's so many people that are doing wire harnesses and crimping cables and screwing stuff together and all that. Jess
and multiples of each.
Managing all that, so.
You got Jess, you got 2 Lees, you got 2 Bryans, you got 2 Roberts. I mean, we've got multiples of people. And, it's just this community that are very passionate about what they do. We have one guy called Mason. He does all our decals for our cabinets. And we've gone to Expo, we've had Christmas and that. And he didn't even realize the game was out. And, it wasn't until he saw the tested video, he was like, oh, that's I did that game, and it's just a whirlwind of we're just in this, making this stuff happen. And there's just those little moments you got to go. It's like, hey, you guys did fantastic. It was just an amazing time.
So speaking of code, speaking of updates, we got a couple great questions in the live chat, and I'm going to put this on the screen as well. So, for instance, I got one of the first machines, I assume, that came out, because I've had my machine for about a month. So when it came to doing the first code update or firmware update, however you want to refer to it, I actually had to put it on a thumb drive, and then I had to plug that thumb drive into the PC in the back glass in order for it to update. And once I did that, it then added the Wi-Fi capability was activated. So future updates I'm now going to get over the air. Is that correct?
That is correct. You can do it the traditional way, but you also can do it over Wi-Fi.
Now, does every owner have to go through this manual process for the first update, or are the later generations that you're building now, do they have the newer firmware and they're good to go? They don't have to do this?
Yes, once we have a stable code update, everything that comes out the shop that gets that stable updated code.
Okay, good. Which leads into what Ravcom is asking about here. With the machines all kind of, having the Wi-Fi, can we expect to see this kind of stuff? I mean, I know, we hate to bring up other companies, but let's be honest, Stern's got a winner with that Insider Connected stuff. Can we expect any of that kind of stuff coming from you guys on this machine or other machines in the future?
Well, so the first thing is that the Insider Connected is fantastic.
It's awesome.
It's more important for us to make amazing games and create amazing experiences first. What we are experimenting with lots of things in the office. Some of it will see the light of day, some of it won't. That's something just wait and see where it goes. But nothing is off the table.
Nice. So what I love about this machine is the fact that I feel like I got a very, very premium pinball machine. We have a pinball machine where the speakers light up. We have art blades on the inside. We have the whatchamacallit, real like molded characters and castles and stuff, like real molds. It doesn't feel like these things are made out of any kind of cheap ABS plastic, stuff like that. Like you can feel the value there. Powder coated like brown legs and brown side rails that match the artwork. That really sparkle if you have the room looking just right. So, and the two screens. What made you guys do the two screens? Because the two screens is killer in my opinion.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, how can we tell the best story we can with the license that we have? And it was, so the LCD wasn't in there in the first place. We're thinking about putting if you've seen the nipper rod that we have on the on the shooter rod, we were going to have little versions of those going back and forth along the back panel as if the ball was chasing them around and so forth, replicating the Ludo rescue scene. Oh. And as we were designing the mechs for that, it was like, you know, I'm not saying it was too expensive, but it would, the cost was going up. And then because of my video background, and we just bought a bunch of LCDs from a auction, it was like, hold on, I just took the LCD and we put painter's tape and we stuck it up there, and it was like, nice. We can do, like with Trent, and what he can do is like, we can do way more with expanding the story and the horizon of this machine out back past. Like it was like, like this has to be the way it has to be.
Good. Very good. So Eric, I got to ask you something, because Rafcon, again, he asked another great question here in our live chat, and you're the code master. Will we continue, like you guys said, next week? You're hoping there'll be the next code update. Will we continue to see more and more changes down the future with this table? And will you be driving? Your buddies here who test what you do nuts with all the changes?
No, there are still things to come, but I think probably not with this public update, but by the one after, I think we're going to have most of the things that we intend to be in the game. Like the wizard mode is not fully playable in the public build yet, but it's almost all in there. It just doesn't have all of its assets and stuff. So it's very close. And other than that wizard mode, there's one other multi-ball we want to add. But beyond that, there aren't any other big things, just refinements to trying to add little, like the character to it in places. If we feel like it's not, there are places where we could inject more character or more razzle dazzle of some kind to make it more engaging. We may do that kind of stuff for a while, but as far as the overall game rules, they're almost all in there now.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Well, do you think you guys, minus tinkering with code and stuff, do you think you did everything possible that you wanted to put in this game, made it into the game, or was there anything left on the cutting room floor that you took out?
You never do everything that you think about doing. It's not even close. If you're ever satisfied with the very final product of something completely, then you messed up. You didn't do enough work.
Interesting.
That this product is really, really good, but we're left with all these ideas that will end up in future games, and we're left with all these ideas mechanically as well as programming and rules wise that fuel the fire of what you do. I will say that the overall vision on this game of what it could be like and then what it is like is very, very close to the original idea. But you never get everything. I don't know, the one thing I can that comes to mind is the doors. Like we have these cool doors, but they're just kind of shots to represent the doors. And it would be even cooler to have like real doors that you
open
knock
and you go
over.
through the door. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Making sure that the game is in a great state, both playability wise and mechanically, is truly important for a company's first game. I really can't think of a game that's come out as a first game from a new company in this quality state mechanically in a very, very long time.
So I hate to circle back around to what we talked about in the beginning. I know we already covered it, but we were talking about, the Henson license and how that all happened. But what about when it comes to, obviously David Bowie's no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any extra steps in process to get him, his likeness, his music into this game? And was that a challenge, or was that just, everyone was on board?
So, I mean, with all licensing, depending how old it is and what type of contracts they had written up at the time, everything is negotiable. Everything is, there for a talk. So the interesting thing about the Bowie and Jim relationship, they were friends. So, getting them on board was not a problem at all. It was just figuring out what worked for their estate and also what worked for the Henson estate.
Good. Got a couple super chats here. Let's throw those out real quick. KDJ says, great interview, P-Dubs. Thanks. Well, I greatly appreciate the support. Thanks for the super chat. And Console Kit said, congrats. This was at the very beginning, right before we went live, and I forgot to mention it. Congrats, Barrels of Fun and Labyrinth. Can't wait for more titles to be announced. Thank you for keeping pinball alive. Very, very good. Thanks so much for that, guys. So right here is, I took this camera shot. This is my footage here of my machine. And as you can see, it is a world under glass. I got to give my hats off to you guys. Another reason I really like this pinball machine is I'm a big fan of what I like to call the 90s pinball games. Like I love collecting the older 90s pinball. The newer stuff is, it's cool, it's awesome, but 90s pinball, in my opinion, and the way it is shot and played and all the toys and things on the table, like that stuff really excited me. And this kind of feels to me like although the movie came out in the 80s, this kind of feels to me like something that could have been a 90s pinball machine. Do you guys think I'm off my rocker with that? You can let me know if I am.
No, you're right.
The first time I played this. Yeah, the first time I played the game, it was like, I don't know, 50, 60% loaded with content. I was beside myself with how much it felt like an old Williams game. It felt like a warm blanket, warm pinball blanket.
A warm pinball blanket. Love it. Any other feedback from the panel?
Blake, why don't you tell us your experience?
I think one thing that really made not only this game, but this entire venture so successful is that all of us truly have a passion for the various aspects of what go into making this machine, these types of machines. And, we all had a connection with this theme. A lot of us did. I think that there's a lot of love poured into this game because we were familiar with the theme. I'm a huge movie buff like David is, and I know that was something he and I connected over many years ago when we first met here in the Houston pinball community. And I think that we're looking at wanting to pour that kind of passion into any type of game or title that we do. And that was the same thing that was put into this company. David and Brian really looked for specific people I think that they knew would bring unique skills and unique talent and just a genuine love for this industry and this hobby to the table. And that's why it's really been a blessing to get to work with all of these guys. And there are a number of incredibly awesome people that are part of the team that are not on this call tonight that we're grateful to have. And so I think that that's really what's led to such a successful endeavor here. And everybody keeping their mouths shut really paid off well. That we were able to, keep this a secret, which was awesome. It was hard. It was so hard. I think we all have great friends in this hobby that we would have loved to have talked to this about. In fact, it was such a good secret that there were some of us that were under NDA and on the team that didn't know that other friends of ours were also under NDA and on the team.
That is true.
It was awesome, but so yeah, I've had a blast doing this, and I think that this is just the very beginning of a lot of amazing things to come from this team. And wait till y'all see what's next, really.
In fact, we have a shout out to Matt, who's on the floor, who was the second floor employee at the company, and he just got in. He likes pinball, and Lee, the first guy that was hired, recommended him to come in to work for us. And he goes, well, I can't tell you what it is, but you got to sign an NDA and come and do it. He's like, okay. He comes down, is like, okay, he signs the NDA. And it's a pinball company. He's like, a pinball company? Okay. And we're touring him around in the back of the empty warehouse. It's okay. And then we go into the prototype room, and it's Labyrinth. I didn't know he was a massive Labyrinth fan, so he nearly literally had a heart attack right then and there. But the funniest thing after that is he couldn't tell anyone that he was working, where he was working and what he was working on until we launched the game, which was literally 6 months. So as far as they knew, he was like a homeless person on the street. He was just disappearing in the morning, coming back at home, having a paycheck, and he couldn't say a single thing.
I love this question right here. Who is, out of everyone in the company, who's the best player on this game? Who is it? Bowen? It's gonna be Bowen, right? I mean, we got this. This is your fantastic gameplay video right here, isn't it? Let's put this on screen. This is you, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been doing gameplay videos on YouTube for 13 years now. It's ridiculous. Nice. So you can track the progression of my hair and beard over the years. And it's just been a thrill to work on Labyrinth. Coming back to what you said about the 90s, I think that Phil really wrote that very well into the rules to make the game a logical and understandable experience from the first time you plunge the ball. You shouldn't have to read a 40-page rule sheet or watch a video for a half hour to understand what's happening in a machine. If the game is not giving you good feedback, then we messed up. So all of that stuff really went into the whole operation. My best score is a little over 100 million right now, but I haven't played in a few months.
Fantastic.
I want to give a shout out to Kemi. Apparently, Kemi had friends who were under the NDA, and she didn't even get a hint for months. So, whoever you're friends with, they did a good job, and give them a kudos.
Yeah,
sorry, Brian.
Loose lips sink ships. But I want to hear a little bit from Phil. Phil's been a little quiet tonight. Phil, when we were talking before we went live, you said that you are one of the rules designers. So you and Bowen as well would come up with these ideas, like, we want the game to do this. And then you got to go to Eric, who's got to code and make it happen. What was that like? Did Eric ever tell you, Phil, you're nuts, man? Like, we can't do that. I'm not staying up for 5 hours tonight to code that. Like, what was that like? How is that like? You come up with the ideas, and then he's got to implement them. Tell me that. Tell me about that experience.
Eric tells everybody.
Oh yeah, Eric does not hold back. By the way, one thing you learn about Eric, if you have a bad idea, he will tell you it's a bad idea.
Like barrels of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, does he go, that's not fun?
No.
To rip a little bit off of what Bowen was saying, I mean, Bowen obviously, how many times have you won a world championship, Bowen? Two, 3 times?
It might be 5, but that's all right.
I am a tournament player as well, not nearly as accomplished as Bowen, but with both of us behind the rules, I think some people might get the impression that means we're really into really elaborate, complicated rules, and actually we couldn't be further from the truth. We're more in the business of creating very clear and concise rules that should be easy to understand, but also offer opportunities to players to maximize their score potential and have a fun game. So, we both are kindred spirits in that regard. We're both educators as well. I mean, Bowen obviously with his tutorial videos, great educator. So we're very much in the spirit of making things simple, and that actually can be a lot more challenging than making very complicated rule sets that nobody can understand. So that's kind of more along the lines of what we're doing. That doesn't mean we don't make things that or propose ideas that are complicated, and it's very important that we keep each other in check. And I've definitely proposed lots of ideas that are, just too far out there. It's like it could be cool, or it's like this might be a good mechanic, but it's just gonna take 10 pages to explain to somebody. And if you can't really give them a quick elevator pitch on this, is it really worth doing? And
or stick a spinner or stick a spinner on the playfields because he's like, this is the one thing it's missing.
We got to have a spinner.
And
Got to
put
throw
a
it in there
captain
somewhere.
ball in front of it.
Oh yeah, Phil's responsible for
Oh, by
one of the greatest shots in pinball.
By the way,
which is having a ball trapped on a fork, and then you whale the ball off the other ball through the spinner for a super jackpot that counts every spin you spin as more points.
Nice.
And it just feels very, very satisfying on that game to hit that shot. So thanks, Phil.
That's just stupid fun.
Yeah. I will say I am mad at whoever made the decision to have that magnet on this playfield, because that magnet is kicking my butt every time I'm playing, guys. I mean, that magnet it's the most psychotic magnet I've ever seen in a pinball machine. I've never seen one. The ball can go up, down, left, right. It just shoots it all over the place. It's crazy. Was that your idea, Trent?
What did you think of the Goblin King would do? I mean, he's going to mess with you.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I know for the sake of time, guys, if you have questions in the live chat, throw them in. We'll try and get some last minute questions in. While you guys are throwing your questions in, I would love to talk to you guys a little bit about the future. So for instance, we know you guys are going to be at Houston. So if you guys are going to the Houston Pinball Festival next month, go meet the Barrels of Fun team there. We got merch coming, which is really cool. Go ahead.
It's near Dallas, Texas Pinball Fest.
Oh, I'm sorry, Texas Pinball, Dallas.
March 14th weekend.
Yeah, I wrote down Houston. I don't know why.
But we'll be at Houston again this year as well because it's our home show. So
home plug. That's why I wrote it down. Okay, so you got the festivals coming up. You got merch coming out. The only merch you've leaked so far is T-shirts, which is cool. Would love to know what the other merch is, but you guys will be announcing that soon. But then what's next? I remember seeing some stuff where you guys were on another interview. I can't remember who it was. My apologies. And you guys mentioned that you might be doing other products besides pinball. Is that true? Or is it just going to be pinball? Pinball and merch for the company. Like, is there going to be other stuff?
There's always opportunities, isn't there, Brian?
Yeah, in our licenses that we try to write with everybody, we have the ability to make other collectibles. This time we didn't get that far because we're still
setting up a company,
a startup. It's that whole we started a company and launched a product and all that kind of nonsense. So as things continue to settle down, we'll be looking at probably more future licenses, things that you can set on your shelf, or I don't know, maybe an action figure and a soap on a rope, or who knows.
So obviously it takes a long time to develop a pinball machine. So if you guys have another pinball machine coming out, I'm assuming you're already at ground zero of that. Are you guys working on anything, or is it any new pinball machine? Then will we see another one?
No, we're one and done. I think we're good, right, guys?
Yeah, we're one and done.
I'll ride this one for 10 years.
All right. I don't believe you. I don't believe you, David. I think you're holding back on me. Console Kids wants to know. Console Kids wants to know what
didn't
other
we already establish that things are mysterious with us?
Oh yeah, mystery. But you said you did that last time. This time you're not going to do that. This time you're going to come out of the gates charging with the flag, saying this is happening. Isn't that right? No, I'm just teasing. But for instance, you did, in my opinion, you guys did a great job with this. If you were able to capitalize further on that Henson license, could we see Fraggle Rock? Could we see Dark Crystal? I mean, Henson also did Muppets, Sesame Street. Like, is any of this a possibility?
Anything that is a license that can be acquired can be acquired.
Yeah, I think if you read what I've read online, I think we're coming out with the little Back to the Fifth Element Blade Muppet Blue Lagoon show.
And I can definitely say people have guessed right.
Yeah.
Oh, people have guessed
Or
the
not.
next one. Can you point to the forum and timestamp of when that guess was made?
Paragraph 6.
I don't think I heard what you asked.
I said, can you point to the forum or YouTube video and timestamp?
I still can't hear what you're saying there. Yeah,
you're messing with me. I don't
understand.
Brian. He's messing with me.
I thought we were doing Toy Story 5.
Toy Story 5?
You know it's Toy Story 13.
Yeah.
No, we're going to do Bop It. That's what we're going to do. We're going to bop it.
Bop it. Just bop
All right,
it.
well, let me ask you this, gentlemen, because Labyrinth Pinball for me was a dream theme, which is why I spent the 5 figures and bought it. It pulled on my heartstrings, and my family loves it. My wife loves it. My son loves it. But what about you guys? Like, is there another theme out there that hasn't been done before that you guys would really love to see personally?
I think everyone would say yes on all fronts of that. And Patrick, I got to say thank you for supporting us, because, you know, a lot of other companies will try and kickstart this, and this is all self-funded, and it really means a lot to our family that you are willing to put your money into a product that we made with a lot of love and care. And we're just not stopping here. I just want to, you know, again, for the whole team, say thank you for supporting us, because I would not be able to hire all these great people around me to make amazing stuff if we didn't have the support of people like you. And also the people watching this, like it just means everything to us.
Well, I appreciate that. And what is the next pinball machine, and why is it Dark Crystal?
It's it has 4 legs. I can tell you that. That's exactly what it has.
Does it still have a back box, or did we take that out?
It's still there for now.
Okay. I can't remember.
All right. Well, that's probably as much as these guys can say. As you guys know, in the world of business, you can't say anything until you're allowed to say something. It sounds like these guys have got a pretty tight lip, and I've tried to apply the pressure, as I always do when these companies come on. But man, the force is strong with David and his team. No leaks here. Tell the plumber to go back home. No leaks here. But
can we announce the bottomer? That's what we're doing. We're not doing a topper anymore. We're going to do a bottomer.
You're going to do a bottomer?
In the back.
It hangs underneath.
Well, let me ask you. I mean,
go ahead, Patrick.
Come on,
it's your show. Tell us. Come
on that trend.
Bring it.
Will the next machine be based on another 80s IP?
There will be another machine sometime in the future, somewhere, by somebody that will be off an 80s movie. Maybe yes, it may not be. I don't know. Somewhere.
You guys are crazy.
Muppet say he's twisting it.
Yeah. So any final thoughts? Anything else? I know you gave us a big thanks, but any final thoughts? Like, why should people? Because you haven't hit that 1100 yet. 1100 machines. So in your words, what's your pitch to my audience? Why they should consider purchasing one of these, or at the very least, because as I've told people, when I cover pinball machines, people panic because these things are expensive and they don't want to feel like we're trying to convince you to spend $10,000 on something. But raising awareness about games like this, so you guys head to your local pinball arcade, spend a couple bucks and give this game a shot, as well as the other games there, is the purpose of doing these kind of podcasts. But if someone did want to buy one, why would they? And why should they?
There's only one reason, and they've gone and played it, and they've enjoyed it, and they want to share that with their family and friends. That is the number one reason to buy it. I don't want anyone to buy a game if it's the fear of missing out. I want them to get it because they generally love it. That's what's important. And it's our responsibility as a company to make a great product that it will last as long as you have it. But anyway, I'll put that to the other guys.
Well, I've seen so many people, especially at the Houston show, just dancing smiling, poking their people they're playing with, giggling. There was a stream some guys were doing, and they just couldn't stop laughing while they were playing the game because they were having so much fun. And I love it. I love the ramps. The ramps are so sweet for me. So I'm curious what everybody else's favorite part of the game is.
I love the game modes. I'll go first. I love the game modes that you guys came up with. There's about 7 or 8, I think, modes. But the Bog of Eternal Stench is my favorite because the machine just turns into this farting machine, and I can't stop laughing at it. Like, I'm a big child. I'm 42 years old, and every time you hit something, it makes a farting sound when you're in the Bog of Eternal Stench, and it cracks me up. Whose idea was that, by the way?
Eric.
Well done. You know the ridiculous detail that Eric added to that, right?
Which one?
The Bog of Eternal Stench. It's eternal.
Oh, and then it sticks with you.
So it sticks with you. You're in a multiplayer game. You're stuck. You're stenched as player 2 the whole game. And then if you happen to get on the high scoreboard, you're still stenched. It's stenched in the high score table as well. And all of that was funny. The ridiculous amount of effort by Eric to put all that in. I didn't think it would happen, and then there it was. It was done, and it's great. It's amazing. Yep.
Yeah, guys, remember, if you unlock and play the Bog of Eternal Stench video mode, you better beat it, because if you don't beat it, you will be eternally stinky. That's great, guys. That's great. What about anyone else around the horn here?
Let's head up to Blake. Let's go around the
Yep.
Honestly, so my love of pinball really goes back to when I was a kid. My dad had a few machines at home, and for me, it was certainly about playing the games, but it was always about the experience of the theme and how well integrated it was into the game. And the first time that I played games like Addams Family and saw a thing come out of the box, and I think that was a special moment for a lot of people in the hobby at that time for what a mechanism could do in a game. I'm very much into this hobby because of the artistic value of it and just the overall fun you can have being immersed in these types of themes. And so I'm not the kind of person who's trying to get the most points on a game necessarily. I just want to have fun playing it, and I want to see more of the game and unlock those moments and those experiences. And so one thing that I really love about this machine is I feel like we do have those incredible moments that people will talk about, things that are memorable. You want to get to those modes and see those things again, every time we play the game. It has that got to play it one more time type of a vibe. And so that's what's truly special to me about this game. And I look forward to us doing that with every Barrels of Fun game.
Like Dark Crystal. Can't blame a guy for trying. Come on, Blake. Okay, what about Phil, Eric, Trent? Any favorite parts, modes of the game, or anything?
Oh man, I'm very excited about the forthcoming Wizard mode, which I've gotten to play test several times, and it's a lot of fun. But beyond that, the whole experience is great. When I see comments online saying that we've captured the magic of pinball, the magic of pinball is back, I am tickled, because that's exactly what we are going for, and that's that's what's the funnest part. My favorite part is when somebody drains out the left out lane, and they drained out the left out lane because they've got a huge smile on their face because the little fiery head popped up. That's my favorite part of the game.
Yeah, all the fiery heads that pop up, Ludo coming out of the house. It's just great. Well, we are a little bit tight on time here. Anyone else final before
Eric.
We have David?
Eric, come on.
My favorite part is whenever something works.
Great answer. Great answer.
I've worked on other games before, but I built a whole new framework to run this game on because of some shortcomings in other ones that we had. So a lot of this project has been me figuring out things that I didn't even know I was going to be able to make work. So when the sticky scores on the high score with the stink coming off each number worked out, that was awesome. Or, like there's so many little things that when it actually did what it was supposed to do, then it's my new favorite part.
I don't know if you had done this with other games, Eric, but the light show builder it's one of my favorite things, just to be able to animate with that and see really cool things happen with hopefully without you having to program a ton on that.
Yeah, sometimes.
I've noticed we've had several viewers in the live chat asking for Spaceballs. Is there a Spaceballs rumor I don't know about? That would be
I don't know.
another.
There's a
fantastic
fantastic homebrew out there that's being made. What about you, Savage? What's some of your favorite moments?
Well, unlike Phil, I will never see the wizard mode on the game, but I do have to go with it's the taunting. I love the taunting of the players because when you have a game that you can use humor and you can capture people, if you make them laugh, you have them. Okay, if you're not good with the jokes, well, kind of falls flat. But if you can make them laugh, they're going to love you and love your product.
True. Very true.
And Bowen?
And I just want to jump in quick because Brian said he's never going to see the wizard mode. The wizard mode will be available from the start button. There is a challenge mode that you can start directly into the Jareth part of the game. You just get one shot at it to play Jareth, and that's it. If you fail, you're out. If you finish it, it's over. But everybody will be able to play it. There's no point in making all that content if only 4 guys are ever going to see it.
And 2 of them are right here on this chat.
That's true, because I haven't got that far yet. Either. Well, I would have.
Bowen?
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead, Bowen.
Oh, I think the thing I've loved the most about this is seeing people who have no idea Labyrinth Pinball exists just showing up to a place and playing it. We did that at was a restaurant in AYC Gogi in Los Angeles, and saw people looking at it. Like, oh my God, it's a Labyrinth Pinball machine, and they start playing it, and they have a good dang time. And it reminds me of my youth and walking into the arcade before the internet and having those same experiences. Like somehow this game with a thing you can hit in the mouth has shown up, and it's a fun house, and what the hell, and let's go. So people being able to have those experiences with something that I get to work on is just incredible.
Somebody in the chat asked about the fart noises, and so much of the audio content in the game is from the film. It just is so wonderfully magical, all the Foley and all that. There are a few things that were created specifically for the pinball machine, but a vast majority of it is straight from the film, which just makes it wonderful.
There's so many contrary to the online rumor, they're not actually Eric's farts.
Well, I mean, there's so many great things in this game where, like, it's like the movie didn't know it could be a great pinball machine. Like, up or down, she chose down. Like it's like perfect for the pinball. But anyway, guys, we're really tight on time here. I got to give a big shout out to David as well as his team here for coming on the broadcast to talk about Barrels of Fun Pinball. More pinball machines are in development from them. They got the Dallas Pinball Festival coming up here. Make sure you guys go visit them and check that out. Link in the video description below for their website. If you're interested in owning one of these machines and need to find a distributor, you could go to their website and find your local distributor that way. Also, I encourage you, because I own one of these, if there's a pinball arcade near you, like use Pinball Map, great application, see if they have Labyrinth. Go check it out, go play it, and give it, spend a few bucks and check it out, man. It's a great game. Big shout out. Thank you guys for coming on. David, I'll let you have the final words. What do you want to tell the audience before we get out of here?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for indulging us on this insane trip. And I just can't wait for you guys to see what the team's been working on down the road. But I just can't say thank you enough for just the support. We're learning. We're not doing everything perfect, but the feedback we're getting is honest. We're learning from it. We're getting better, and just keep watching this space.
Fantastic. Do us a favor, guys. If you enjoyed the broadcast, give us a thumbs up on your way out. If you caught us on replay, make sure you leave your comments, feedback, reactions below. If you have any questions for the team, make sure you leave those in the comments below. I'll make sure I send those over to David. Thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you real soon.
Thanks.